The Tyndall Report tracks the coverage of the 2016 election on the nightly news, and there are some disheartening findings in the data. So there was a little over 800 minutes of coverage so far, and they say the following, quote, Donald Trump, unsurprisingly, is the most covered candidate in the race. In fact, he alone has gotten more airtime, 234 minutes, than the entire Democratic field, 226 minutes between all of them. So let's reflect on that fact for a second. Donald Trump alone is getting more coverage than the entire Democratic field. Okay, there seems to me to be a little bit of a problem there. Now, I'm not one to advocate for some sort of weird quota where you say, okay, everybody gets exactly the same amount of time and that's the end of the conversation. No, that's goofy and that's, micromanaging and that goes way too far. But should it be the case that one candidate on the Republican side gets more than all three of the Democratic candidates combined? And to be clear, it technically is all five because this includes back when you had Lincoln Chafee and Jim Webb in the race as well. No, that makes no sense. They say Democratic favorite Hillary Clinton is the second most covered candidate, no surprise there, at 113 minutes. Listen to this, guys. Vice President Joe Biden, who flirted with a run but ultimately stayed out of the Democratic race, got far more coverage, with a total of 56 minutes, than Bernie Sanders, who on the nightly news has gotten just 10 minutes of coverage in the entire election. That's unbelievable. Even if you're somebody who doesn't like Bernie Sanders, you can admit that that's fucked up. So they have a conclusion in this article. They say the takeaway for candidates is a bit disheartening, like I said. If you're not winning, saying outrageous things, or embroiled in an email scandal, it can be difficult to garner the attention you think you deserve. So as Nate Silver went on to point out, there are slightly more Bernie supporters than Trump ones, okay, because there are fewer Democratic candidates, so Bernie, even though he's in second, he's getting a larger percentage. So in the country, there are slightly more Bernie supporters than Trump supporters, but Trump has gotten 23 times more network news coverage. Good googly moogly. And then also understand that Bernie Sanders has made a decision to handicap himself in the money primary. You have somebody like Hillary Clinton taking money from special interests, taking money from corporate donors, and that's something that allows her to get her message out much more, never mind the fact that she already has higher name recognition because she's already a celebrity. You have all the Republican candidates, including Donald Trump. Donald Trump may be taking less money from other big money interests, but he's a billionaire himself. So Bernie Sanders has handicapped himself across the board without taking corporate money, and also he's listening to the people more as a result of this. So he has that holding him back. He has the news not covering him, holding him back, and he's still found a way to have a little bit more support than Donald Trump. There's slightly more Bernie Sanders supporters throughout the country than Donald Trump, despite all the handicaps. Can you imagine if the media did their jobs and covered him efficiently and effectively and spoke about his message and the facts and the platform? Or could you imagine if we had a system where it was public financing of elections, so Hillary Clinton and Bernie Sanders had the exact same amount of money, and it was just a battle of ideas and not a battle of wallets? Could you imagine how much he'd be leading by? Even with all the handicaps, he's hanging in there. Feel the burn, man. Feel the burn. So, hey, media, how about you start doing your job? But no, what they're doing here is they're showing the sensationalism bias, also the establishment bias. Of course, the media is part of the establishment, so they're going to represent their worldview much more, and they get big money from other establishment actors, so they're going to represent them much more. But this is also, hey, look at the loud guy who's super fucking obnoxious and who's kind of like a fascist. Let's cover him because he keeps saying stupid shit. But let's cover him in a way where even when they cover Trump saying stupid shit, it's more they're both sides. Let's discuss both sides of this. Some people say that his proposal to ban all Muslims is horrific, and, some are defending it and saying, indeed, it's a good thing and it's not anti-Muslim. Trump was on TV the other day saying, I'm the least racist, I'm the least bigoted person ever. So there we have it, man. Even with all the handicaps, Bernie's hanging in there. This means that you guys are his fallback. If he ends up getting through the primary, and this is his hardest race in the primary, I think he'll win in a general easy if he gets through the primary, it's going to be because the people are behind him and they were willing to fight, even though there were all these handicaps against them, and even though it was an uphill battle, and even though it was long and difficult to do so. If he ends up getting there, it's going to be because, as he says, he's relying on you, he's relying on a political movement, he's relying on this revolution of ideas in order to get there. So are you going to fight hard enough? Are you going to push him over the edge? That's yet to be seen.